Hey, wanna help support the channel while looking stylish and repping your love for anime and heavy metal at the same time? Then be sure to grab yourself some awesome AnimetalViking merch from my merch store. Available for a limited time only, so get yours while they are still fresh and hot. Links in the description. Weekly viewing as a concept is by far the worst way to consume anime if you had to ask me personally. I mean, yes, for all the cons I am about to dive into, it certainly does have its pros, and it definitely has its place in this community, make no mistake about that. So before you jump in the comments calling me an elitist douchebag or whatever generic insults can usually be found on the internet, allow me to first place emphasis on the following. The point of this video is not meant to be an attack on fans who prefer to watch anime in weekly and seasonal fashion. It is merely a criticism of the method itself, and a chance for me to highlight why binge viewing has been an infinitely better system of consuming the medium from my personal experience. With that out of the way, let's dive into why binge viewing anime is better than weekly viewing. It should be noted that both weekly and binge viewing are vastly different experiences than what we usually like to think about or admit. Weekly viewing is popular in today's community for a variety of reasons. These reasons include having something to look forward to each week, creating discussion, and just generating overall hype and buzz around new shows or seasonal continuations. However, in contrast to binge viewing, weekly viewing most certainly has a lot more cons to it than the former. For starters, weekly viewing has this tendency to create the mindset of, if it's not new and trending, it's not worth talking about anymore among fans. And I'm not just talking about shows that aired many years ago or even a year ago. What I'm talking about is the fact that it is sometimes barely a day after a show ends and suddenly it is forgotten about, just like that, because weekly viewing pressures you into keeping up with everything and anything, just in case you miss out on something during community discussions. I'm not even kidding about this, because I have seen plenty of subreddits dedicated to seasonal shows suddenly go from being almost quiet to even completely dead the moment a show finishes its run, unless it's an ongoing show or a show that is such an established classic with a dedicated fan base, that is. This actually reminds me a lot of the way most music, if you can even call it music, is consumed nowadays. One moment it's the hottest tune on Spotify or iTunes, then by next week it's already considered old, and by then another manufactured product takes its place. Binge viewing, on the other hand, has allowed me to not be pressured in any way, shape or form to watch everything and anything that is airing. In fact, binge viewing has given me more opportunities to enjoy anime a lot more than what I used to when I participated in weekly viewing, and it has given me a more profound understanding as to what my tastes are and what I like to look for in a new and upcoming show. Not only that, but discussions with other binge viewers, as I have noticed, tend to be a lot more insightful, nuanced and balanced. Plus, I can almost immediately tell just how much a person loved or hated a show based on the amount of passion they put into forming their arguments and analysis. And even if a binge watcher didn't particularly enjoy a show, they tend to talk about its flaws in a more calm and rational manner, as opposed to the manufactured outrage I've experienced with many weekly viewer interactions. Not only that, but in not being pressured to view the shows they consume as hip and trendy topics of discussion, binge viewers tend to realize that what they are ultimately looking for in a show is its ability to stand the test of time and be added to the list of classics that every newcomer to the community should experience at least once in their lifetime. Also, binge watchers, in knowing what their tastes are, will always look for something in a show that will make them want to rewatch it a second time or even multiple times in the future based on how well it resonated with them at the time. Another thing I have noticed about the weekly viewing side of the community is that in the week-long wait between episodes, fan theories and character shipping start to occur, and while there is nothing inherently wrong with these things, they are, unfortunately, responsible for creating some of the most despicable forms of behavior that often makes me feel embarrassed to be an anime fan. Think about it for a second. Fan theories tend to create a lot of animosity in discussions because, as they are are being concocted, everyone who has their own theory will always try and be right and have the last say on the matter. These fan theories also tend to create a certain level of standards based on one's impression and overall enjoyment of an episode. Then, if things don't go the way they wanted or predicted, fans will immediately blow a gasket, drop the show, and proceed to do things like tarnish its reputation through constant trash talk online, which unfortunately drives away potential audiences from checking the show out, which leads to it either being overlooked, underrated, or even worse, both. The shipping side of this is pretty much the same, though it tends to take things one step further to the point where it actually harms the image of the community. Obviously, not everyone who participates in the act of shipping fictional characters together romantically is crazy like the people I'm talking about, but this minority of bad eggs certainly don't help matters. What these shippers tend to do is send death threats to the studio staff and even the creators of shows once their ship is made to be not canon within the confines of the story. We saw this happen to the creator of Tokyo Ghoul a few years back, and recently Kohei Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, has received many attacks and death threats on his Twitter account over absolutely stupid and petty things. There was also the infamous Darling in the Franxx incident, which wound up making these whiny brats look silly with egg on their faces come the next episode, because as it turns out, there was nothing to be worried or outraged about in the first place. Seriously, it's okay to be passionate about something, but if you can't separate fantasy from reality, then you have some serious mental problems and should see a shrink. Binge viewers are a lot more willing to accept the show for what it is, flaws and all. Since they have the ability to view everything in a shorter period of time, they are a lot less likely to get outraged over the quality of certain episodes, any nosedives in the story, or be disappointed when their ship doesn't become canon. Binge viewers also tend to prefer discussing and analyzing a show on a deeper level than that of weekly viewers, since they can revisit and jump between episodes after watching and finally comb through all the little details, which allows them to also offer unique perspectives on a series based on their subjective experiences that lie outside that of both the creator's intent and the general consensus of the community at large. This basically means that binge viewers are always looking for new perspectives and ways to keep discussion around a show alive and well years after they have aired, because they have revisited these shows many a time until they know the ins and outs of the characters and plot like the back of their hand, and because of this they are able to deduce the shelf life of a show almost with ease. It's the same way that metal fans are able to talk about music that was released all the way back in the days of the genre's inception and still find new things to talk about after many listens, as opposed to pop music consumers, which I already alluded to earlier in the video. Another advantage binge watching gives viewers is the fact that it allows one to put certain events in shows into context before reaching a conclusion as to how well or poorly it was executed. A recent example of this would be the drama concerning the first episode of Goblin Slayer, where characters were either brutally killed or in one case violated, and weekly viewers were all quick to jump on the outrage train, with the exception of those who have already read the source material prior to the episode airing. Since Goblin Slayer is currently only on its third or fourth episode at the time of this recording, I still do not have an opinion on the show or its execution yet, but one thing I do know for sure is that it's most certainly not the darkest show in all of anime like some publications will claim just to get article clicks. The final advantage binge viewing has over the dominant weekly viewing method is the fact that since you are watching several episodes or the entire show in one sitting, you're able to remember important plot and character moments with a lot more ease than if you were to watch weekly. This is because when you watch only one episode a week, you tend to forget certain things because as things happen in your daily life and because you're watching more than one show at a time, your brain is constantly working to sort out your memories of past events, which can lead to you potentially flipping out about specific plot twists for no reason at all, only to calm down when you eventually revisit it and in hindsight you don't know why you got so mad and dropped the show in the first place. Yes, binge viewers can forget things as well, but at least if they do, they can immediately jump and skip back and forth between episodes to piece things together together, instead of having to wait for the show to finish airing or having to scour on chats, forums, and Wikipedia pages for additional info. In conclusion, if there's anything that those of you who are weekly only viewers watching this can take from this video is this. Yes, there is nothing wrong with weekly viewing. It serves an important purpose in its own way and is a necessary component in what makes up the anime community and sets it apart from other things like movies and theatre. You're also free to make your own choices and watch anime in a way that you see best suits you and your schedule. Also, both methods definitely have their pros and cons. However, if you are a weekly only viewer, I do encourage you to binge watch something, even if it's only once in your entire lifetime as an anime fan, because in doing so, it might help you to not only avoid potentially one day treating the medium as a product instead of art, but it will definitely help you to save time and enjoy yourself a lot more without any kind of pressure, as it will give you a sense of what you and your tastes are. And who knows, it might even change the way you talk about your favorite shows with your friends and how you view the medium as a whole. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what it is that I do here, then you can help me out by liking this video, sharing it, subscribing, hitting that bell icon to be notified of my updates, and by leaving your thoughts down in the comments. If you are feeling generous, you can also help by donating to my monthly Patreon, and you can also help by picking up some awesome merch over on my merch store. Link is in the description box below. Finally, if you want to stay up to date with the channel and see other news, you can follow me on my relevant social media platforms down in the comments. That's all for today, so until the next video, take care of yourselves, and as always, have a kick-ass day. Cheers!